Black women in politics are always being second guessed, undermined, demeaned, and straight up unheard by the entire country. While Republicans can make mistakes that literally unalive a million Americans, and then they are allowed to just sashay their ass back into power just 4 years later, like it didn't happen. People really passed on Kamala Harris and elected Donald Trump because they felt like Joe Biden didn't adequately fix the mess that Donald Trump created. Now look at what we have to deal with. I'm making this video because I'm witnessing it happen again, this time to Jasmine Crockett. Their reasons for attacking her is some straight bullshit. And you'll never guess who the attacks are coming from. In today's video, I will break down what's being done to black women in politics and contrast it with the shit that the Republicans are doing. But first, drop a like to help the algorithm and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you'll be the first to know when we post. This is Pragmotiv News, and I'm Cam. Black women in politics always have it rough. They are subjected to criticism that no one else gets. Donald Trump's own chief of staff screwed over his entire administration by speaking freely with a reporter, which threw the Trump administration into complete chaos. So to fix her mistake, she apparently made Trump do that unhinged address. According to the Independent, Trump says Susie Wiles made him do the primetime address where he spent 18 minutes yelling about his, quote, accomplishments. Now imagine if that was Kamala Harris doing that. It's just up there screaming that unhinged, lie-filled infomercial speech after having her chief of staff do some shit like Susie Wiles. She would be labeled the angry black woman president who can't keep her administration in order. So what I'm seeing is that black women in politics are always being sabotaged, demeaned, and unfairly attacked. And I've seen it happen to Kamala Harris, and now it's happening to Jasmine Crockett. Kamala Harris's blackness is always challenged. The Biden White House did not do right by her. And every time somebody talks about Kamala Harris potentially running for president again in 2028, even on the left, people are like, please don't run. Please don't. Oh, please no. And I find it crazy that she was the vice president and people seem to think that she had the ability to set policy and then blamed her for what Joe Biden did as president of the United States when she was only the VP. People just won't see that vice presidents do not set policy. They don't have that ability. The vice president must toe the line of the president that they were elected to serve with. The president is their boss. Can you go out and contradict your boss? No, you can't. Because then you'll get fired. Could Joe Biden fire Kamala Harris? No. But he could have replaced her on the ticket for his second term run, which will have torpedoed her entire political career. And he really kind of did that already by not defending her from the baseless attacks that people are just going along with to this day. And that's just not right. In my eyes, everything Kamala Harris predicted would happen under Donald Trump has so far happened. Everything. He said that he would bring costs down on day one. He didn't. He said he would end all the wars. Instead, he created more conflict. Everything she said he'd do, he did. I love that she's saying it now when she's doing interviews. She said it on Jimmy Kimmel the other day. Check it out.
There are very specific details in the book which interest me because I wonder if you were writing everything down with this in mind while it was happening. You keep a journal.
No, I first of all, I did not keep a journal. I did not write it down while it was happening because I had no time. There was absolutely no time for reflection at all during those 107 days. The days were very long. I was so acutely aware of the stakes. And I mean, my prayer every night was, God, please let me know I've done everything I could this day. I knew, this is where what we've been seeing over the course of the last 10 months, I predicted just about everything that has happened.
You did. We actually, it's true. It's almost funny, actually, the way you said each of these things would happen, and they happened. And when you say those things during a campaign, it seems like the kind of things politicians say, but boy, did those things come true.
You know, that reminds me a lot of Hillary Clinton. Because in 2016, Hillary Clinton was saying all of what Donald Trump would do as president of the United States. And it all came true. Literally all of it. And now I have to see these posts on social media. Hillary was right about everything. Yeah, she was. And so was Kamala. But the country just couldn't get behind electing a woman or a black woman. So America fumbled the bag in 2016 and then did it again in 2024. People fell for the okie-doke. The Republicans' patented thing in 2024 was, well, why didn't she do this already? All of this that she's introducing now, why didn't she do it? Remember? The vice president does not have the ability to set policy. I've said it so many times and I'll keep saying it until people fucking understand that the vice president cannot set policy. Because you know it speaks to how black women is treated in general. I started out by saying the party and people as a whole is sabotaging black women in politics because of all of this hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrisy in politics in general. And Kamala Harris literally just talked about it on this interview with Jimmy Kimmel.
Republicans have mercilessly attacked President Biden for his age and his mental faculty, and yet now we see the current president falling asleep at meetings and drooling on paperwork, and they seem to have no problem with that. Does that seem hypocritical to you?
Throw it away.
You think?
That's the hypocrisy right there. Joe Biden's cognitive abilities were fair game every day, every single day, every headline. And Jake Tapper wrote a damn book about it. The country was bellyaching about wanting a younger president. And Kamala was right there, ready to be that younger president. But no, the country elected down stupid ass Trump, who is just 3 years younger than Biden, I might add. Now Trump has fallen asleep in meetings, not making sense as if he ever did. And he has disappeared for like a week. For whatever reason. We don't know. They're not being transparent about it. In fact, they're covering it up. And the attacks aren't as fierce on Trump as it was on Biden. Where's Jake Tapper's book on Trump's cognitive abilities? So yeah, double standards are everywhere. But the country has just subjected, if I could say that right, Kamala Harris and black women as a whole to most of those double standards. Now that Jasmine Crockett has announced her candidacy for the 2026 Texas Senate race, some people on the left, of all places, are now trying to label her as some sort of Israel acolyte. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So in response, she had this to say.
Seen it on social media where people are saying that some of them aren't going to vote for you because of this pro-Israel stance. What do you have to say about that?
What I have to say is that people need to start to do their research and stop falling for the clickbait. Listen, if you loved me before, then what has changed? You can always look at my voting record and know what it is that I have and haven't voted for, but it's quite intellectually lazy if you just sit there and let somebody else tell you something and you don't go and get the full picture. You can always look at my FEC filings and find whatever information it is that you seek. So what I will tell you is that I'm not going to be distracted because at the end of the day, I can tell you that Texans are concerned about the fact that we lead in uninsured in this country. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because right now jobs are few. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because they can't afford childcare. I can tell you that Texans are concerned because hospitals are about to close down. And if you have questions, then you should just go and look at my record. I have nothing to hide. I wouldn't be running for office if I had anything to hide. But what I'm not going to do is allow people to sit here and have me on the defensive about something that they don't even know what they're talking about, because it is very easy to look up who is endorsed by who and to figure that out. That is intellectually lazy for you not to just go and look who has been endorsed.
Now, a lot of these progressives have been saying AIPAC backed her. No, they didn't. They didn't. But here's a question that somebody has to ask. How all of a sudden is the Texas Senate race, how is Israel and Gaza a litmus test on this race? Can somebody explain that to me?
Exactly, motherfucking how? She doesn't like the government of Israel, just like the rest of us. We don't like the government of Israel. But we don't have any ill will towards the Israeli people, and we just shouldn't. How would you feel if someone was lumping all Democrats in with the people who voted for Donald Trump and was trying to attack us and talk shit about us like we did it? We didn't do it. We voted for Kamala Harris. So we're not to blame for what's going on in this country. We did what we were supposed to do. It's everyone else who didn't understand the assignment. So I know you wouldn't be okay with being labeled the same as a Trump supporter. So why is it that everybody is trying to lump every single Israeli citizen together, acting like they supporting that bitch Netanyahu? When are people going to realize that Netanyahu is Donald Trump? Netanyahu is their version of Donald Trump. Netanyahu is a conservative and is just like Donald Trump. The bullshit ass reason people are mad at Jasmine Crockett is for voting for aid packages for Israel. But what they don't know, or that they do know but they're willfully omitting, is that she voted against aid packages that were just for Israel, that didn't give Gaza anything. And then voted for aid packages for Israel that had stuff in it for Gaza. Why is that a problem all of a sudden? I know why. Because as soon as black people, especially black women, step out of the box that people want us in, the sabotaging and the attempts to beat us back into said box starts. And it pisses me off. Kamala Harris dared to be a trailblazer and run for president, and be the vice president, and do something that none of the white men and one black man who have been president and vice president before her has done. Serve in all three branches of government. First, the judicial as a prosecutor, then DA, and then California Attorney General, and won that in a statewide race. Then in the legislative branch of government, where she served as a United States Senator, winning yet another statewide race in California. Then the executive branch, serving as vice president, who went to an HBCU and pledged to Kappa Alpha sorority, a black sorority. And lo and behold, everybody was like, she's not really black and she is unqualified. And those on the left act like she supports Israel. You know, she snubbed Netanyahu when he came to DC during the campaign. Kamala don't like him because, like I said, Netanyahu is a conservative. None of these attacks that people levy on Kamala Harris and Jasmine Crockett make sense. None of them. Yet people fall for it and even partake in it. It's just racism and sexism. That's all I can get from it. It is December 2025. The lizard took office in January and shit is already hitting the fan. And guess what? This is only the appetizer. These high prices is just the appetizer. By the time November 2028 rolls around, we might be looking at the 2008 level victory for the Democrats. 20 years to the day. And the best part about it is we can have that beat anyone we want. Because the desperation will be intense. I bet they'll vote for Kamala then. Like, comment, and subscribe, and follow at Pragmotiv News everywhere to stay pragmotivated. We're closing in on 1,000 subs, and we can't get there without your support. So please remember to subscribe with that bell on. And remember that you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. That's going to do it for us this week. See you on Monday. Peace.